I respect everybody until they earn my disrespect. I'm having a lot of uh, debates, Facebook, and even in person, people. And I keep contending that it's not an impeachment that we need to push for with Obunghole. Though I feel if he were the president, there are many impeachable offenses. But I'll get to that. I'd like to explain why I feel that impeachment is not even an issue. I don't even think it should be on the table. First of all, you can't impeach a fraud. You're going to impeach the wrong person. Obunghole has been perpetrating fraud on the country from day one. And this is provable on 3 different fronts. Now, I keep getting called a birther because I do honestly believe that the birth certificate he held up and said, "This is my birth certificate, and now stop asking," was a fraud. I think that because I've seen the evidence that it's a fraud. So to me, that birth certificate is a fraud. It doesn't exist. So he personally perpetrated fraud. Number 2 would be his Social Security number. Then again, another second offense of fraud. Fraud. This is not who it's fraud. He's giving you information that is not what he's pretending it to be. It's not his Social Security number. Why? What is up with that? Okay, now that's 2 fronts. Third, his Selective Service card was found to be fraudulent. The Selective Service will not admit that it was fraudulent, but they will not confirm that it is a legal document. Something's up. Now this is 3 different offenses of fraud from one person that I've pointed out. Provable. So why are we not going after him for fraud? Now, the first case of fraud that I mentioned is very deep, and it has a lot of implications insofar as having terrorists actually now finding an avenue into this country legally. In Joe Arpaio's cold case posse's investigations, led by Mike Zullo, he discovered that Florida laws, as far as getting a birth certificate, were so vague and wide open to abuse that anybody can get one. This is true. We need to look into this. Our Congress and senators need to look into this issue, if nothing else, because it is a huge, huge hole. As I just said, terrorists are going to be able to just walk right in through our system because of how easy it is to get a birth certificate in Florida. And this is why, when you want to portray a fraud, as Obunghole is doing, you would of course go to Hawaii, where these laws are so vague. Yes? So, why would you go after a fraud for one of his... And it is provable that if he were the sitting president, which I pretend he is not, he's a fraud. He cannot be the president. So he's usurping the office. So you can't impeach a fraud. He's not supposed to be there in the first place. Now, if you get Obunghole on the fraud case and you prove that he's committing fraud, if you prove this, you are going to reverse every single thing. Everything. You understand this? Everything he's done reverses. He could not have done it. He's been proven a fraud, so everything he's done is now null and void. Instantly. Everything. So, to me, this is the only choice. Because you don't just get one pick and choose on the criminal charges. No. We get them all. How can I say this when it's only fraud you get them for? Well, don't you figure as I've been pretending all along, when you prove the fraud, you now prove the rest of this breakdown of our government from within. We are eviscerated in many different areas of our country, in our government, in our economy. Wow, oh my God. And isn't that a way you take down a country? In our defenses, again, wow. Isn't that another way you weaken a country? We have so much, instability. The job market is just eviscerated. And now, they want to let a bunch of illegal aliens join a job market that offers no jobs. That's how you take out a country from within. So, prove the fraud. And then, you don't have, you're not giving him a pass on all of these other charges, because those can be brought up. What he's doing is he's a traitor. If he is a citizen of this country, then what he's doing, he's giving aid and comfort to our enemies, our sworn known, and he's giving them $8. His own brother is a member of the Muslim Brotherhood, and so is he. Now, as I said, the fraud is provable. How many times do we see these politicians slip and slide and slither out of their responsibilities? Look at Hillary. How did she slither out of that? Totally responsible for Benghazi. Totally responsible for those people's lives. And looks the other way. And puts her nose up at us when we ask questions. The arrogance, it is a bunghole that we need to expose. Because you are going to prove that others are involved in this. Wasn't it Hillary and her hubby Bill who were one of the original birthers? When Hillary was running against old bunghole, her and Billy were saying he's not even eligible, and then all of a sudden shut right up. Gee, I wonder how she got that State Department job, huh? Prove the fraud, and everything gets reversed at once. And the fraud has already been proven. What we need to do is bring it out in the open. And the only thing that stops it from being brought out into the open, because any citizen right now can go and find this information. I can give it to you. Anybody can go and look at it. But any congressman or senator that even whispers murder, or even whispers Arpaio, cold case posse, fraud, they are going to be targeted. And they're going to be blackmailed, and they're going to be threatened. Just like Fox News was. No less than 2 reporters said that they were scared off of the bunghole issue. They were not to report on anything at all. Zero, nothing. Report on nothing. No birther, no fraud. 2 different reporters. People aren't listening. So it is the NSA that needs to be abolished. They are the ones that are ringing the bells. Hey, this guy over here needs attention. He's talking birther. Hey, this congressman over here wants to hold some meetings. We might want to talk to him behind the scenes. You don't think it's happening? Then you're a fool. And you're an absolute fool. Because that's exactly what's happening. Men in power do anything to stay in power. Now, I've made some pretty dire predictions in my previous videos. Think I'm crazy, think I'm nuts. None of them have come true. Not one. And I think I've made 4 now. 4 different predictions that I thought was going to come true. One of them was a nuclear attack on the West Coast and blamed on North Korea. Remember back then? But anyway, I've made some predictions. None of them came true, and I'm happy about that. I'm very happy. The predictions that I made were very dire, but things are coming down, and I am glad that I was wrong. I'm happy that I was wrong. People would have died. People would have gotten hurt for nothing more than government gaining power over you and I. Who would let their self get felt up just to get on a fucking plane before some supposed cave dwellers came over here and flew planes into buildings? Seriously. But they play with our mind, and they make us think that we need their protection. We need them to look out for us. We need to get rid of the NSA. They have no right at all. We should all get together and sue the living shit out of our federal government for monitoring us unconstitutionally. That is a constitutional infringement on each and every single American's lives. And we should call them on this, and we should sue the living piss out of them. Every one of us. This is a serious infringement on every single American. A very big infringement. Our founding fathers, I can't believe they have to be spinning in their graves that we aren't doing something about this, that we aren't rioting in the streets. This is one of the rights they gave us that are going to keep the rest of our rights alive. We're supposed to be able to express ourselves freely. Freely. That's not allowed anymore. Especially from people on the left-hard side. They want to be able to spout their horseshit and nonsense, but don't you dare. You start talking about what policies have gotten us where we are today, then, well, you're automatically a racist. A racist? Because I know that I got a fucking piece of shit sitting in my White House that's perpetrating fraud from day one? How does that make me a racist? That's incredible. I happen to think that Dr. Carlson is one smart man. I happen to think that Mr. West, Alan West, is one smart man. I'm a racist? That's absolutely ridiculous. Because I see what's going on. We need to wake up. We need to wake up and expose this fraud for what he is. We need to expose the NSA for what it is. Do you remember the giant uproar when this story first came out? Now where is it? Now how do Americans feel about it? Because they got the mud put in there, and nobody cares about it anymore. This needs to be attended to. We got people marching on Washington. I got a feeling there's going to be a media blackout. So we need to spread this all over social media. The NSA must be abolished. The old bunghole fraud, the fraud now. This isn't the birther issue. This is the fraud. All of it. The fraud. If we can expose the fraud, as I said, everything gets reversed. Instantly. Every single thing. Everything. Don't you think that's worth the effort than going after him on just, when he sent a drone to kill a 15-year-old American citizen overseas, which I think is a very impeachable offense. I don't want to get him on impeachment. I want to expose the fraud that he is. And then everybody else that helped him, which includes the NSA. Look into it for yourself, people, please. Look into it. And then, get somebody else to look with you. God bless America. God bless us all. Good luck, people. I think we're going to need it.